So in this video, I'd like to talk about the relationship between weak acids and the pH. All right. So earlier when we were in the acids unit, we talked about how obviously when you add an acid, whether it's strong or weak, to water, that should lower the pH. All right. So the one difference is if it's a weak acid, it's not going to lower it quite as much as a strong acid. But still, remember with a weak acid, when it hits the water, there's going to be some dissociation of the acid making some H3O+, and that should lower the pH. All right. But one thing that's interesting is that this relationship also works the other way around. The pH also is going to have an effect on the weak acid. All right. So why that happens? So recall that whenever you got that weak acid in water, some of the weak acid is going to be in its protonated form, all right, which sometimes chemists will just casually refer that to as its acid form, or you could generically represent that as HA. And some of it's going to be in its deprotonated form, all right, and the deprotonated form, another term for that is the conjugate base of the acid, or you could say it's in its A- form, all right. So the relative amounts of this protonated or deprotonated form depends on the Ka. All right. So the thing is, you're going to have both of these swimming around in that solution of a weak acid. All right. So if we were to add any weak acid to water, recall that this is what's going to happen. All right. Some of that weak acid is going to react with water, making some H3O plus A minus. All right. But when you take a look at this, recall that this is reversible. All right. And also recall this concept from the reaction equilibrium unit, which is Le Chatelier's principle. And one thing that you should remember from Le Chatelier's principle is when you add something to one side, it pushes something in the other direction. All right. Or if you take something away from one side, it's going to pull things towards that side. All right. So if we take a look at this acid dissociation reaction right here, notice that it's got H3O+. All right. In this equation, we generally assume that H3O+ is getting created from your weak acid. All right. But the reality is that as far as this reaction equilibrium is concerned, it doesn't care where it gets this H3O+. All right. So if you were to add some strong acid, something like hydrochloric acid, that's essentially the same thing as adding some H3O+ to that solution. All right. So what would happen if we had that weak acid in solution and we added the HCl+? That's going to increase the amount of this. All right. So if we increase the amount of that, then Le Chatelier's principle would suggest that this equilibrium is going to get shifted to the left. All right. So when that happens, that's going to decrease the amount of A minus, and it's going to increase the amount of HA. All right. So that's just qualitatively how you could think about it. So let's look at it from a mathematical point of view. All right. So recall that Ka is related. You could do this generic expression right here, and we could rearrange this equation right here to give the following. All right. So we just move H3O+ down, divide both sides by H3O+. That would give us this right here. And so let's take a look at this and think about what it would mean. All right. So recall. So on this side right here, you've got A minus over HA. All right. Essentially, that's just going to represent a ratio of A minus to HA. All right. So if this overall side right here were to be below 1, all right, that would mean that you have more HA than A minus. But if this overall side would be greater than 1, that means you've got more A minus and then you do HA. All right, so this side right here represents the ratio of A minus to HA. And taking a look at this side right here, all right, we've got the Ka right here. All right, so remember that's a constant for whatever that weak acid is. All right, for example, if this was acetic acid, you would have a certain Ka. All right, that's a function of that particular weak acid. So this is a constant. All right, but notice you've got this right here. all right, the concentration of H3O+. All right, and remember, that's all that pH is. All right, pH is just an indication of how much H3O+ you have swimming around in the solution. All right, so remember, if the pH is low, what that means about the solution is that the amount of H3O+ is high. All right, and vice versa. If the pH is high, the amount of H3O+ is low. So let's consider the situation of a low pH. All right, so and when I say low pH, I mean a pH which is lower than the pKa of that acid. So if we've got an acetic acid solution, we would want to make sure that we get the pH lower than the pKa of acetic acid. Which for acetic acid, the pKa is about 4.8. So low pH would mean getting the pH below 4.8. All right. So if that happens, if you get it low, what that means is that this part of the expression right here would be high. All right. So if you've got a high denominator, if you've got a constant up top and you've got a large denominator, what that means that this side right here is going to be small. All right. Remember, large denominators mean small number, all right? So what that means is that this ratio, this side right here, would be equal to a small number, all right? So therefore, at low pH, all right, this ratio is going to be low. And what that would mean is that HA, the bottom, would have to be the predominant form, all right? The only way this number can be small is with a small numerator and a large denominator. All right. The opposite would be also true at a high pH. Remember, high pH means H3O+ is low. So if we have a low denominator on this side, that means that the overall size of this side, size of the left side, would be large, meaning that this ratio right here would have to be large. All right. So if in that situation, A- is going to be the predominant form. All right, so that's just mathematically talking about how you could prove this, but it's good to just go back and kind of think qualitatively, why would this be true? All right, well, let's think about this. We said here that at low pH, HA is going to be the predominant form. All right, remember, at low pH, that means you have lots of H3O+, and according to Le Chatelier's principle, that should push this to the left, which means you should have lots of this and very little of this. All right. At higher pHs, remember, when you have higher pHs, that means you've got relatively small amounts. So if you were to increase the pH, that's essentially going to be taking H3O+ out of the solution. All right. And that's going to shift it to the right. All right. So that's going to mean lots of this and little of this. All right. So this is just a mathematical description of how we could figure it out just using Le Chatelier's principle. All right, and this expression right here, I want to point out, we're going to use this this is not the form that people generally use, especially in biochemistry. They end up turning this expression right here. They end up turning this expression right here into a more useful form called the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, which we'll talk about when we get to biochemistry. So moving on. So a good demonstration of how pH affects this equilibrium between the amounts of HA and A- is to use this chemical benzoic acid. All right. The thing is, the HA form or the acid form of benzoic acid is very insoluble in water. All right. It has some amount of water solubility, but if you were to add it to water, you would notice that mostly what you have is just white chunks floating around in the water. All right. Its conjugate base, though, is very water soluble. All right. And you can look at this just to review. Why would you expect this to be more water soluble? Well, it's charged. All right. Remember, charged compounds tend to have a strong attraction to water, which is a polar molecule, which makes it more soluble. All right. So the thing is, if you have all or mostly this, you're going to see something that looks like a white solid floating around in water. But if you have mostly this, it's going to be a clear solution, all right, because it's soluble, all right. So the pKa of benzoic acid is 4.2. All right, so whenever you get the pH below 4.2, what you're going to notice is that this is going to be the predominant form. But all you have to do is add a couple of drops of sodium hydroxide to this mixture right here. That gets the pH above 4.2, and all of a sudden everything is clear. All right, and this would be the predominant form. All right, if you wanted to then take that solution and turn it back, all you'd have to do is add a couple drops of HCl. It would go back to this form right here. So it's a really good way to demonstrate that, because you have a very good visual indication of which one of the forms exists. All right, so hopefully that makes sense, and we are going to move on to acid and base neutralization.